Wait, did you just say a janitor saved her life? The young nurse asked, her eyes wide as the news broke across the hospital. The story that would soon captivate millions began in the quiet corridors of St. Clair Medical Center, a place known for healing miracles, but none quite like this one. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and stay till the end, because this is one story that proves heroes don't always wear uniforms, sometimes they wear janitor gloves. It all started one stormy evening when General Helena Briggs, a decorated 4-star general and one of the most respected leaders in U.S. military history, was rushed into the emergency room. She had collapsed during a live military broadcast. Within hours, the entire nation was watching. 22 of the country's top doctors, neurologists, cardiologists, surgeons, were flown in. Every possible test was done. Every machine beeped, every chart checked, every diagnosis reviewed. But none of them could find what was killing her. Her vitals are fading, whispered one doctor. It's like, her body's shutting down, but we don't know why. For days, the hospital lights never dimmed. Specialists came and went. Generals, politicians, and even the president's medical team stood helpless. The media surrounded the hospital gates. Everyone was desperate for a miracle. Meanwhile, in the background, quietly sweeping the halls and mopping the marble floors, was Ethan Cole, a single dad and the hospital janitor. To most, he was invisible, a man who worked the night shift, cleaned up after others, and left before dawn. But what no one knew was that Ethan wasn't just any janitor. Before tragedy struck, he'd been a combat medic in the army, a man who'd once saved soldiers under fire before losing his wife in an accident that forced him to leave the service and raise his young daughter alone. He never talked about it. Never bragged. He just did his job, quietly humming to himself, his worn wedding ring still on his finger. On the third night, as the rain lashed against the windows, Ethan was cleaning the floor outside the ICU. Through the glass, he saw General Briggs lying motionless, her skin pale and eyes closed. The doctors were huddled around her, whispering and pointing at charts. One of them sighed, "We've done everything humanly possible." Something in Ethan's gut twisted. He'd seen that look before, on the battlefield, when a soldier's body reacts not to trauma, but to something inside it. A toxin. A slow, creeping enemy that the machines can't detect until it's too late. He paused, remembering a case in Kandahar, when a young lieutenant showed similar signs. No one had caught it then either, until Ethan did. He hesitated. He was just a janitor now. Who would believe him? But then he thought of his daughter, Lily, 8 years old, who always said, "Daddy, Mommy would be proud if you still helped people." He took a deep breath, knocked on the glass, and stepped inside. "Sir, you can't be in here," said one nurse. I'm sorry," he stammered. I overheard. I think I've seen something like this before." The doctors exchanged annoyed looks. "You're a janitor, right? This is a secure area." "Yes," Ethan nodded, his voice calm. "But I used to be a medic." "Look, her fingers, the pale bluish tint near the nails, it's not cardiac. It's systemic. Something's blocking oxygen transfer. Maybe it's not her heart or brain, it could be a reaction. Something she touched, inhaled." They ignored him. One even chuckled under his breath. Ethan's hands trembled. He turned to leave, but then, the heart monitor screamed. The general flatlined. Chaos erupted. Nurses ran, doctors shouted orders. Ethan froze for a split second, then his training kicked in. He grabbed a discarded IV bag and sprinted to the cabinet. "Check her uniform," he shouted. "Look for residue, something powdery, maybe on her collar." Everyone stared, but one nurse, desperate, checked and gasped. "There's something, white dust, here." Ethan's eyes sharpened. "That's not dust, it's a synthetic toxin used in field tests for nerve training. It mimics oxygen deprivation. It's rare, but I've seen it before." "What are you talking about?" asked the head doctor. "It binds with hemoglobin. Standard blood tests won't catch it. You need to flush her system with a hyperbaric saline solution, not adrenaline." For a tense moment, no one moved. Then, the youngest doctor, a woman in her 30s, looked at Ethan, saw the steadiness in his eyes, and said, "Do it." Within minutes, they administered the treatment Ethan described. The room fell silent except for the rhythmic beeping of the monitor. 1 second, 2, then 3. Beep, beep, beep. A weak pulse. The general's chest rose. Her eyelids fluttered. The entire room gasped. Nurses began crying. The senior doctors looked at each other in disbelief. Ethan stood frozen, tears welling up in his eyes as he backed away, almost embarrassed. By morning, the news broke. 4-star general saved by janitor. Reporters flooded the hospital. The doctors tried to explain, but everyone wanted to meet the man who saw what 22 specialists missed. General Briggs, pale but conscious, asked for him personally. When Ethan entered her room, hat in hand, she smiled faintly. "You saved my life, son. I owe you everything." He shook his head. "No, ma'am. Just did what anyone should've." She looked at him deeply. "You're wrong. Not everyone would have had the courage to speak up. You saw what others didn't, because you still see people, not just charts." A few days later, the military honored him publicly. But the moment that mattered most wasn't the medal or applause. It was when his daughter, standing beside him, hugged him tightly and whispered, "Mom would be proud of you, Daddy." Ethan smiled through tears. For the first time in years, his heart felt whole. The video of his story spread worldwide, inspiring millions, reminding everyone that no matter your job, your past, or your uniform, greatness lives in the heart that refuses to give up. So if this story touched you, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to believe that miracles can come from the most unexpected hands. Because sometimes, the one who cleans the floor is the one who sees what everyone else has missed.